Here's a little story I got to tell about three bad brothers you know so well.
If you ain't first, you're last. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. And Donovan has scored! Oh, can you believe this? Go, go, USA!
Man, it's always so good to hear that music. Champions League is back, and boy, did we have some surprises in the games this week.
Yeah, there's a few unexpected results with you got Porto losing.
That's my upset of the week.
Yeah, that was really. I've been watching Porto play for the past 3 weeks for my job, and they've looked really good. Obviously, it's the Portuguese league, so they've had a lot of weaker teams to play against, but still, they've won games like 3-0, 4-0. Abu Bakar has been scoring in every game. In this game, he wasn't. He was suspended for, I guess, from a game before. But yeah, Besiktas pulling out the upset. But there was a lot of other
Sporting 3-0
like
at halftime.
that was wow.
I called Sporting. Not saying that's
I
score,
called
obviously,
it too,
but I said Sporting's winning.
I called it too, but from just like a hunch. I know
They
like really
have
evidence or reasons
they
to
have a
call
good
that,
team.
but I just had a feeling.
Although-
William Carvalho, Battaglia, Gelson Martins is a young Portuguese player I've been watching for a while.
Celebration of the Champions League round goes to Pardo for Olympiacos.
Really?
When it's,
This
Double
again?
celebration.
when it's 3-1 and he scores near like the 90th minute and he's like, yes, let's go. And
No,
then-
he scores again to do it
and then-
3-2. Like,
yeah, but-
"Vamos!"
well, no, if you score a second goal, then you start believing like
in
we
the
can come back.
93rd minute when the
Doesn't
game's
matter.
over.
Doesn't matter. You put that
No.
second in, you still then why? Like, might as well just I scored. Let's go to the locker room.
Well, he had to pass his first celebration once he scores again.
oh, there's the music. again.
Okay. Yeah.
So the English teams went 4 for 5. Liverpool failed.
Yeah, I was wondering like, what? There's 5. It's still. I'm still not used to it yet.
Get used to it. But we thought maybe Tottenham would be the team that would
No, I said
ruin
Tottenham.
the
Nope.
perfect 100% record.
Nope, I said Tottenham.
Dortmund got screwed over 2 goals that were
I didn't see
were
what hap- I
disallowed.
didn't see it all.
Offside calls that should have been onside goals.
And
But
what was
that's
the score at
soccer.
the time?
Tottenham gets the breaks. I think it was a 2-1.
Okay.
But Liverpool tying at home to Sevilla is...
I think Liverpool tying at home is a big deal. I think this proves that they're. I think it proves that they're not a contender for the
Firmino missed the penalty. They
Still,
should have been up 3-1 at halftime.
But they
Stuff
didn't.
happens. It's
But they didn't.
No.
No,
stuff happens.
It's a bigger problem for Liverpool, which they have not fixed since Klopp has taken over, and it's their defense.
They're not a bad team.
If
but
you
they're
watch
not,
that
they're not
first
gonna,
goal, you
What?
look at that first goal, and Lovren needs to clear that. It doesn't go under
Yeah.
your boot.
like
It went under his boot to the guy.
they're
who tapped it
100%
in.
not a bad team. I still think they'll probably be a top 4 team in the Premier League, but I thought they were going to be a title contender. This proves that they're not.
No. Well, then that's your mistake.
Separate
for giving
issues.
such high odds.
Separate issues because you thought they were doing well because they were scoring lots of goals, especially that Hoffenheim game. Really
they
hyped
have
them
the
up.
attack. Josh is right on the defense,
But their defense has not been fixed.
That's not a bad
Well, and-
result. Sevilla's a decent team. It's your first game in Champions League in a while, and
That's
they missed
giving-
a penalty. It's fine.
giving credit to Sevilla, but Liverpool's supposed to be this European threat at home, and,
Sure,
they,
but
and they
you make
didn't
that
do
penalty,
it.
and you're
But
3-1 at halftime.
that's a
Stuff
valid
happens
point.
in
Another
soccer.
another thing to add to that
He
game.
hit the post, by the way.
Another thing to add to that
There you
game
go.
is Coutinho played his first game with Liverpool this season. So obviously he's
Also,
still
give
not
him time
back.
to
So
mend.
we'll see who's gonna lose out
Yeah,
on his
Spartak
spot.
Moscow and Maribor, they have time to.
I
make up for it.
expected
They're
more
fine.
from Mane, given his red card against City, that he would have a good game, and he was okay. But United did well 3-0. Chelsea easy 6-0.
United did well, but you got to mention the Pogba injury.
Goal of the week?
That's,
We'll get to that
good
when,
for the Premier
when
League.
we're hyping the
Goal of the
games.
week.
Goal of the Champions League round.
Zapacosta.
No,
Yeah.
no. Anything that could be defined as an accident, I don't
That's
consider.
not an accident.
But you don't know.
You can see by the way he's.
But you don't know.
You can see how his foot leaves the ground. That's not a cross.
I think in the words of MLS, that's a goal of the year nominee.
No, that's an exaggeration. I would not put it that, but I would say it's the goal of that day.
Fine, goal of the week.
I
Yeah,
like.
that's what I said.
Nominee.
Okay, yes.
I liked Neymar's goal better.
It's against Celtic.
Which he
didn't-
had one goal.
Oh, they had a good build
You
up
only have one
passing
goal?
plays.
He had one goal, but
The
it's,
reason why I
it's,
take that
Cavani's
off-
goal was better.
the reason why-
Cavani's goal was better.
The reason why I take Neymar's off is because that should not have happened.
Why?
I
The
guess
foul on the other side of the play.
that's
I don't know. It was a really smooth finish. It's not like the most spectacular finish in the world, but it's just
Pedro's
so
goal.
smooth. Pedro, yeah.
That was a good shot.
That's a nominee. I'm not saying it's the winner.
But Champions League got underway. They're 1/6 of the way through the group stage. We'll be catching up again with them in 2 weeks' time. Europa League was last night. One Israeli team was a miss. One Israeli team just got by.
I mean, just got by.
2-1.
Like
Like
we're up 2-0.
Yeah, but
and
they
then it
gave
was
up-
2-1.
they
The
gave-
final,
And they missed a penalty.
the
It should've
final
been
15
3-0.
minutes. Yeah, it should have, but it wasn't. Final 15
Sure.
minutes was kind of
It was
Of
kind of
course,
nerve
once the other
wracking.
team gets the first goal, 67th minute, it's 2-1.
But the difference is Maccabi was on the road against arguably the top team. Villarreal I know is the top team, but Slavia Prague was a Champions League team, and this was at Lugano at home, who's a
Yeah.
Pot 4 team. So it's a little.
they got the win.
A little worrisome.
Again, yeah, you're right. All that matters is they got the result in the end, but like it's
Yeah.
it's
You can't judge him on score.
it was a little scary.
and the fact that Pilsen loses 3-0 is huge. Goal differential will matter.
we'll see.
You see that, and all you need
Yes
is a
and
tie.
no.
to
You
get-
just gotta
see that and
take. You
just
gotta
need a tie.
take care of your games. You have to win your games at home and get at least 1 or 2 ties on the road.
Well, next-
Bersheva's fine, like I said from the beginning.
Beersheba should be
Maccabi Tel Aviv
fine,
is tough.
hopefully. But the thing is now for MacTay, their next game's against Villarreal at home, and if they don't at least
No.
draw, if they lose, they're done.
Villarreal
That's
wasn't
not true at all.
Villarreal wasn't that good against the Astana.
That's not true at all about Villarreal. They just have to beat Slavia Prague on the home leg.
Maccabi Tel Aviv can't get killed at home. If they lose to Villarreal 1-0, 2-1,
I don't
not a
to
problem.
get
It's
out of
fine.
the group.
No,
I don't.
no, that's
I
true.
don't think you can lose at home to get out of the group.
Yes, to
Yes,
the best team you can.
in
Only
that
to the
group,
best team.
in that group, you kind of can because the teams that go to Astana, I can see Astana tying Slavia Prague in Kazakhstan. And Maccabi Tel Aviv, if you looked at their roster yesterday, I think it was 7 foreigners, 4 Israelis. And not to crap on the Israeli players, but that's a way better side to line up. Last game we'll cover for Europa League because, I mean, pretty much status quo. Milan rolled, Marseille won. But Arsenal, first half, awful. Second half, the subs took over. Just like the Cologne fans took over the Emirates.
That was nuts. If you haven't seen the videos on Twitter or any like wherever videos get posted, there's reportedly, I don't know how they actually know these numbers.
There's 20,000
20,000 Germans invading.
That's just support.
That must be scary.
It comes down to supporting their team, and I believe Michael wrote me yesterday. Well, how do you feel about the Cologne fans going to the Emirates and taking over? That is different. That is the Cologne fans traveling to England, buying all those tickets to see their team. That's a pride in
That's
their
insane.
team that you can't really stop.
And it's crazy. Like, I was watching the game, and there still looked like there were seats that weren't even being taken. So there must have been fans that must have been super disappointed they couldn't get in.
Well, it was a late kickoff, and it was all just bungled pretty much. But Arsenal got the win. Their Champions League, Europa League. Sorry, so used to saying Arsenal Champions League, but their Europa League campaign is off on the right start.
I can sort of transition this to the Premier League, which we'll get to.
Yeah,
but
we
like,
will. But my advice for Arsenal is you start with your strong players and then ease them out because that first half was an abomination.
If you haven't seen Sead Kolasinac play, you are missing out on one of the most underrated players in the world. He plays left back or left wing back, and he is a force. Like he scored the first goal for Arsenal, and there was a time where
He said he's the force.
Oh, okay.
yeah, okay. He had the ball, and some player came like running at him, and he basically like not stiff armed him, but like he just like shoved the guy off the ball while
He's
he was
a
like keeping
strong
position.
beast.
He can't be stopped, and
He's the addition.
we'll get there.
Guess what? Let's not start him against Liverpool, and let's not start him against Cologne and see how good that does for
I
you.
think this is the second time already in
It's
a month
ridiculous.
he's come off the bench and won man of the match.
Pretty
so we'll get to this again later when we talk
Alexis
about Chelsea.
is
Arsenal.
back.
I think every episode you talked about him for a few minutes.
Alexis
he's
is
a
back.
free transfer. He's the best.
Alexis's goal was amazing. Bellerin scored.
Reece Nelson made his first start for Arsenal, or not start. He made his first appearance, and he is so fun to watch. He is going to be amazing. He's better than Chamberlain will ever be, and I'm so excited to see more from him.
Transitioning to this week in the Premier League, we don't need a review last week. It's been pretty much covered to death, specifically the Mane red card, which is definitely a red card. Unfortunate, but it is. The lineup this week, we actually have Friday night soccer. It's Bournemouth versus Brighton. Then we got Crystal Palace, Southampton, Huddersfield versus Leicester, Liverpool, Burnley, Newcastle, Stoke, Watford City, West Brom, West Ham, the Battle of the Wests, Spurs versus Swans.
The Battle of the Birds.
The Battle of the Birds. And then Sunday, the doubleheader and the matchups of the weekend. It is Chelsea home to Arsenal and Man U with the return of Wayne Rooney to Old Trafford.
That'll be very interesting.
We will preview the starting game with Liverpool versus
And
Burnley.
Lukaku to Everton.
No, it's
but
more important.
No,
in
of
at
course
Trafford.
Rooney's bigger.
No,
of
you'll
course.
mention Lukaku playing Everton, but it's when Lukaku goes back to a Goodison. It's more of the highlights going to be on Rooney.
True.
It's all going to be about Rooney and the reception he's going to get.
True. I was just thinking in regards to fantasy. I was thinking about Lukaku this week, and then
Always about the fantasy. We'll get to Man
No,
U.
'cause I remember thinking about that. He's
Right,
playing
We'll
the
get
team.
to Man U and
Liverpool versus
Everton.
Burnley.
I don't know how much time we have to spend on this one. I think Liverpool wins it 4-0. I think Coutinho gets his start because Mane is out. I think.
Where does Coutinho plays? Not Chamberlain.
Fuck Chamberlain.
What? They're not-
I
Same
agree,
position.
but you know, okay, but Mane is Coutinho's
Is that
a winger?
even a question? You make it work for Coutinho. I mean, I'm sorry. Just like Thierry Henry said, I don't know what Ox can do.
I know, but like, which position? I forget what position Coutinho played last year. Was he part of the front three or was he in the middle three?
He's normally the middle three up top, I believe, but he did at some times
can
play
push
the
him
winger.
forward.
So
Yeah.
So he'll replace Mane.
Klopp
then?
will make it
could.
work.
I don't know. He
Klopp
could.
will make it work. This is
The point is,
Coutinho's
who do you want to
breakout
play,
game.
and then you make it work.
This is my pick for first goal scorer if they have that in the Liverpool game. It should be an easy 4-0 Liverpool game.
Who would you do first goal scorer?
Coutinho.
Mistake.
Salah.
Easy. No. Salah got his.
Salah for me.
Salah
Coutinho.
Salah is too busy with his sore throat, and I just don't like Salah. And Firmino will never get first goals. He has solid games. He's won me over, but he doesn't get first goals. I'm going with Coutinho. Nevertheless, I think we are agreed 3-0, 4-0 Liverpool. It's Burnley.
It's Burnley, but it's also Liverpool's
No,
defense, so it might not be
exactly.
0.
I was just gonna say that.
The thing is, they're not going to be challenged that much because Liverpool's going to be 70-30 with the ball.
We'll see. I haven't.
They're not going to be going forward like Sevilla did.
4-1.
That's fine. That's the same concept.
Yeah,
That's what. No, it's definitely the same concept, but
gonna score their
it might
goals.
not be a shutout.
especially after the tie, they're
Mo-
gonna score their goals.
Moving on, same concept, different game. I heard some of the commentators say Spurs with a -2 this weekend, and I think that could be the case as well.
Yeah, it could be.
I think once they've gotten that win now at Wembley, that now they're going to get going. Swans, they lost at home to Newcastle.
Yeah, I made a huge mistake by adding Renato Sanchez to my Taga team.
Too
and
soon.
He got -2 points.
It's too
Who
soon.
said he was terrible?
I
Again,
tried,
good
I tried
players need to
giving
be
him-
built around good teams.
No, exactly. He's too young to be all of a sudden here join one of the worst teams in the Premier League and do well. That's just like a recipe for continuing going downhill after being this whole prospect going to Bayern for like 30 mil or something last year, not playing much. Then you go to Swansea. You get
Well,
to
he
the
needs
last
time.
place. Yeah, exactly.
You need time
but
to
that's not
adjust
the
to
right
the Premier
team.
League.
No, of course.
Well,
But that's not the right
there's no
team.
point in debating the right team, wrong team. He is there.
Okay, so
I
then
think-
I
But he
think
needs
that's
a few games, and it's not gonna be this one
that's
against
not gonna
Spurs.
progress his potential.
If you
We'll
have,
see. It's a long season, and he's got some trainings to get in, and he can get back
But
to
I
the
like they
national team
also
to get
got
going.
that. But they got Boney back. I still
if
like
you
They could
have
combine.
a Spurs player on your fantasy team, it's time to captain him because it could be
No.
a bit of a blowout.
I think also that was a key point.
Del Piero.
No, Ali. Dale Ali missing the game against Dortmund helped Tottenham to win that game.
In what way?
I just think his style kind of slows them down a bit, and they're trying to give him the ball when the ball should be really starting with Eriksen and Kane. It's hindered them at times, and I think it's something to look at. Maybe that was a good reason why they played better.
We'll see because I think for sure in this game, if the Spurs get a goal early on in the game, it will end with at least 4, maybe 5.
I think Kane's on fire. He
Pretty
has
much.
a poor August. Now
You
he's gonna
guys are
bank it on
saying how
September.
bad Swansea's, but they do only have 5 goals against in 4 games. That is
What-
still something.
wait,
to look
what?
At. 5 goals against, 1-0 loss, 2-0 win, 4-0 loss.
Okay, that's-
0-0. So really, they
They've had
shut out
3 clean sheets
2 clean
Fabianski's
sheets.
a baller.
2 clean sheets
against 2.
Southampton on the road.
Southampton is poor. Southampton is
sure,
very
that's fine,
poor.
but Southampton and Crystal Palace both not good, but
Oh,
road games.
okay. It's a different animal. This is Spurs at Wembley, and they're on fire, and they're going to
Sure,
continue.
I'm
I'm
just
going
saying-
again 3-0, 4-0.
Yeah, same.
I would go
think
3-0.
4-0, maybe 5 even.
No, 3-0
Depends how
for me.
early they score and get things going because they're gonna feel it.
Okay, we'll get to the 2 games of the week.
Sunday games.
Basically, it's Chelsea-Arsenal's the game of the week because Everton's in a tailspin. We forgot to mention them in the Europa League. They
Yeah.
were awful against Atalanta.
Wow, yeah.
But Chelsea versus Arsenal, I don't see how Arsenal can get a win in this game.
I disagree. Not with that statement. With the statement before, this is not the game of the week. Chelsea's going to win easily. The game of the week's Man U Everton.
Well,
Easily?
I think Chelsea's winning this game 100%.
Because you're a fan?
No.
Because I'm trying to like...
I've seen both those teams play recently. Obviously, they're some of the most attractive teams to watch. Chelsea's on fire right now. Their team has started to click. Morata's come into the season now, and he's there. He's playing well. Pedro's well. Hazard's back from injury. He came off the bench. He's doing well. They're clicking, and Arsenal still isn't there. They have good moments, but I think Chelsea's
it could
2-3-0/1.
knowing Arsenal knowing how quickly Arsenal can implode at times, it can be easy. I don't think they will.
Arsenal, of course, can even win this game
Arsenal,
somehow.
they
Well, in
rested-
my opinion, Chelsea wins 2-3-0, maybe 1.
Arsenal rested
Arsenal
Lacazette
rested
and Ozil.
7 starters.
Yeah, they rested a bunch of their players.
Sure, but they played on Thursday, so it's not like. When did Chelsea play? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday.
They played on Tuesday.
But you missed the point where Arsenal rested 7 starters.
And Kolasinac
I
came
get
off the
that.
bench. He's
So they're not going to be that tired.
Sure, so take the tired out of the equation. Neither is Chelsea, though. So it's just a normal game. That's fine.
and if it's a normal game, I don't think they win easily.
I think we'll see.
They might win. I honestly, as a
Chelsea's
fan,
clicked. They're
Well,
home.
this is why I started.
Arsenal has
with,
problems.
This is why I started with Arsenal is not going to win this game.
I have no
Right.
idea.
First of all, this is just my opinion.
I don't.
But I
have
think
a
Man
read
U
on this
Everton's
game
going to
at
be
all.
much more
No,
interesting.
but you need to back it up with good insights, and
I already
I
said
think
why.
you're on a very good path to that. I just think Arsenal needs to give a performance, and we're getting sucked back into them thinking that they're going to return to their glory days, or at least a legit team. But that first half against Cologne was the bad. But then
It was
that
bad.
second
But you
half.
got to remember that some players shouldn't be on that field. Like
No, that's definitely true, but I lost faith in Iwobi. Theo, I'm sorry, but you're barely even a sub at this
he's
point.
not playing in the right position.
That was
he
awful.
can't play in the 3 defender formation.
It doesn't matter, but when you get to goal and you can't make those touches and right passes and all
Yeah.
that, it was just that's nothing to do with position. That's just your game's gone.
But Holding had a terrible game.
Holding
Maitland
shouldn't
Niles-
start.
Yeah,
like
no.
I don't get that.
All right, but for me as a fan, I predicted them getting destroyed by Liverpool. For this game, I
said that too.
I don't know
I
what's
called
gonna happen.
that.
Honestly, I don't have a read on this game. I still need to see the lineup before the game happens because I fear Welbeck's gonna start again. There really isn't a reason for him not to because he scored 2 goals and assists in the last game. But when you've got Lacazette, who's a much better goal scorer, and you got Alexis and Ozil, I don't see there's room for Welbeck. So
Obviously, there's not. He shouldn't even be mentioned.
but he's gonna start.
I think we're at Mikey's hoping for a tie. I'm leaning towards Chelsea, and Seth is a definite Chelsea. For this one.
I'm. It's definitely more with my heart, but I have a feeling Arsenal pulls something off. I don't know why we haven't won a big game
that's
against
a
the top
huge
6
state.
teams.
That's like there's such a range of that statement because a tie is sure that could be pulled off. You get a point at the Stamford Bridge, but there's a big range between the tie and the win.
Arsenal has not won at the Bridge
They're
in
not
5 years.
exactly. They're not winning.
I don't know.
To say the tie, sure.
Which, as you go, if you get so overconfident, that's what's going to happen. But seriously, I don't think Arsenal has a chance at winning this game.
not winning.
The tie, if you get good value on
Chelsea's
that,
clicked.
I would lean
Chelsea's
towards that.
clicked.
I have Ozil
Chelsea's
feelings.
definitely looked good, but
There's a very good chance he has feelings for you
I think
too.
I'm not going the way where Seth's going, that this is going to be one-sided. I think this is going to be a really good game. Maybe Chelsea puts up the score late in the 80th minute, make it like 3-1, something
over
like
goals.
that. But I think this will be a really good game.
Over goals.
I'm not ready to put an official prediction
Yeah, same.
on this yet. You can check our Facebook page
I need to
for our
wait for the lineup.
predictions.
I need to wait for the lineup.
Mike might wait for the lineup, but it's going to be a good game. I think that's what we should hope for.
Yeah. So
Moving on to Old Trafford. Let's go with the most current issue, and that is Pogba. He's not going to play. He looks to be out till after the Liverpool game on October 14th. It's a loss. Now, we were exposed at Stoke because the back two, Jones and Bailly, did not click. They were responsible for both goals against. So that's a little bit concerning. Lindelof played full 90 in the Champions League, so he's getting his experience back up. I wouldn't be surprised if he could see some starting time in this game. Everton is a wounded animal right now.
Yeah, they're missing something. Everyone keeps saying they need a striker. But
Explain that. Keep talking. They're a wounded animal. What
they're
are
an
you trying to say
animal
by
that's
that?
been attacked, and
They were a really good team to start the year, and then they tied City away, which is a good tie. They tied Hajduk Split in Croatia, which is okay, I guess. They didn't even show up to Chelsea.
Atalanta was terrible.
The Tottenham game, they got completely destroyed. And now the Atalanta game, theoretically, that's 270 plus minutes with no goal.
Yeah. And Rooney's been the only player who's really scored.
This isn't a bad team, so I can't be walking into this game, or anyone shouldn't be walking into this game, Man U's going to win this easily.
I think they will.
Well, there you go.
I really do think they will.
I think you could look for Rooney to somehow score that first goal
Sure, 2-1,
and shock it.
3-1.
But I don't see Man U not getting the win, despite the Pogba
As good as
injury.
Pogba is, I honestly don't think he's that crucial for them. He makes them.
He
that,
isn't
he
that
makes them, He makes them
crucial,
that
but
like. He makes them that. Let's just say great team, and now that they're still a great team without him. You have Ander Herrera and Matic. So you can have defensive mids. Then you have Mata. You can move into the middle.
Marion
you still have
Fellaini.
Mkhitaryan.
Marion Fellaini.
No, not Fellaini.
Ah.
You still have
Nah.
Mkhitaryan, Rashford. Young played and got an assist, I believe. I mean,
Against Basel.
It was a good
They're
assist. He
fine.
set up the.
I
No,
saw it,
he
I saw
can. If you give him time, he can
whipped in a
cross the
good
ball
ball.
well. But that's the thing. If you give him time in the Premier League, you're not given time. Despite that, Valencia's going to play. They rested Valencia, so he should be good.
Captain Valencia.
it's 2 or 3-1.
Like, I mean, I'm a little bit not too confident because of what happened last week. Because we're all Man U's untouchable. We're going to win. We need to get back on the right track. We can't start tail spinning now in September.
I think out of all the games, Man U might be my for sure favorite to win out of all of them, even over Spurs. I don't think they'll destroy. Like I
chance.
think,
What are you talking
I think
about?
Spurs will destroy
If you had
they
to
do
choose one team, no odds, no nothing, you would choose Man U this week.
Liverpool.
Liverpool,
No.
City,
not
No,
City
not
either.
City.
not City.
Let's touch that.
City,
At
easy.
Watford, it's not a great matchup on paper, but Watford's in the top four. Watford,
haven't lost yet.
Watford is undefeated, but City's on fire. I mean, they just scored 5 against Liverpool.
scored 5 against
and
Liverpool.
4 against Feyenoord. They're clicking.
This is a nightmare for
The
Watford.
thing that needs to be mentioned.
Do you
that
see Watford's goal differential right now?
what?
Watford's goal differential.
No.
They are a +4. I would not be surprised if it becomes a minus.
No way.
I would say even, but
No.
sure.
In their last game, they had a 2-on-0 basically with Aguero and Jesus going down, and Aguero did the unselfish thing and passed it to Jesus, which is
exactly.
like that's
If you're about to say that's unlike Aguero, that's not true.
no,
No,
it's,
you're
it's
just
not
saying
like
that's
Aguero.
important to show that the
it's
team's
signs
clicking.
that they have partnership. And
Didn't
they're-
surprise me at all. I knew he was going to Jesus. I knew that ball was going to Jesus.
I want to mention something though.
Wait, I want to ask a question.
Hold on, fine, you
Jesus
first.
or Jesus or Jesus?
I think it's
Decide.
Jesus. I think it's Jesus. But like,
I think we'll just call him Gabriel J.
there was going back to Europa League
Okay,
yesterday.
Gabriel
I
J.
saw a game in the Europa League yesterday where Zenit scored their I think third or fourth goal in the game. It was like 3 or 4-0. They did the same sort of play where like they went on a break and the dude instead of scoring he just passed it to the other guy.
Kroken?
It was Kroken, yeah, and he passed it like a little cheeky like
Kokorin.
backheel back.
Kokorin.
And like as he was passing it back to Zuba, whatever his name is,
Zayuba.
Kokorin was like blocking the goalie. And like the goalie couldn't get to
screen,
it.
like basketball?
100% screening him. Like he was touching
I
him.
mean,
He was in the way.
I,
And 100%
I
was a
go
foul.
more for hockey than basketball, but okay.
It was 100% a foul.
Well,
And
so
like,
it's
I'm
a
not sure if the
screen.
ref
He's
just didn't.
screening the goalie.
No one realized it, but it was 100% a foul. And they let the goal
Game's
counted.
over.
You know,
whatever.
it's Russia, Putin.
It was-
paid
I don't
the
know.
I have a
referees.
couple
I thought it was just
questions.
interesting to me.
Okay, like a couple more questions and we'll get to NFL.
Yep.
Does Crystal Palace get their first goal
That is-
of the league?
First goal?
They have not scored.
Here's the thing. Frank de Boer was fired. It was not right. His team has not played for him.
Yeah.
His team has not played for him. It's unfair that they got him fired when Benteke is not scoring goals when they dominate Burnley but lose 1-0 to them.
Dan missed a Dan or Dunn, what's his name? Dan.
Dunn.
He missed a wide open header.
It's just
in the last game.
unfair. Like, I get it. It's results, and if you lose your first 4, it's not looking good.
Yeah, fired after Burnley.
Yeah, he just got fired midweek.
I mean, I'm sorry. They have 4 losses.
but it's his team. His team didn't finish their chances. They're not
The team didn't finish the
Part
chances.
of it, though.
No. A
There's
coach
that.
can't say, "Okay, move your right foot into the ball, put it in
Sure,
the corner."
I get that.
And apparently the board also didn't give him the funds to get a better squad because his squad is very weak.
Okay, but they've lost 3-0 to Huddersfield, 2-0 to Swansea, and 1-0 to Burnley. What else do you want? Take
what's
off the
the fourth
Liverpool.
one?
1-0, only 1-0 Liverpool. It's a decent result on the road. That's
Right.
fine.
Well,
So-
Huddersfield was the first game of the week.
Oh,
of the year.
3-0 at home. That's how you start the year. Then Liverpool, whatever. 2-0 at home to Swansea loss.
They might score in this game against
At Burnley,
Southampton,
1-0.
but I see them losing again. They haven't replaced him yet. Hodgson is the
That's just
the front
it's
runner.
a train wreck. Crystal Palace, you're on your way down to the championship.
Yeah.
I have no faith in Hodgson. I like Crystal Palace because the more London teams in the Premier League, the better, I feel. But it's something to keep our eyes on. Seth, your next question.
After this game week, is Manchester the only city still undefeated?
Yes.
Is there anyone else besides Watford and
Watford City United and Watford Place City.
Yes.
So, question is, does City win and Man U not lose? I guess to be undefeated.
Both teams can draw.
No, because then Watford would still be.
Oh, the only team. Oh, okay.
It's Man U. Here's your double.
I said,
United
I
wins.
said
City.
if Manchester's are the
Alright,
only
fine.
teams.
Do a Manchester double this weekend. 100 shekels. Boom. Any more questions?
Realistically, City will win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Yes. Who is right now Golden Boot for in England nationality?
What?
Someone from England.
Oh, someone from England has the most goals right now?
Hurricane.
It's not Harry Kane. Otherwise, I don't know why Seth would ask that if it's Harry Kane.
Guess. I'm not saying
I'm
before
trying
you
to
give
think.
your guess.
You know the answer?
I have it right here in front of me. No.
Someone who's leading right now in the Premier League with most goals as a English born player?
Yes. Meaning this
Danny
isn't-
Welbeck.
There you go.
He's got 3
How?
goals.
He has 3 goals and an assist. Vardy has 3 goals.
Kane only has 2?
Kane
Kane
has
has 2
2.
goals.
Ali has 2. So you're shitting on Welbeck this whole time, but he's the best Englishman.
Tap in?
I know.
Tap in?
And then of course,
Header, shoulder goal?
Welbeck and Best shouldn't
We
be in
didn't
the
even
same
mention
sentence.
that. Their game against Bournemouth, he scored the most Welbeckian goal
Oh,
ever.
yeah,
where
yeah,
he
yeah,
tried
yeah.
headering it and missed, and it bounced off his shoulder and it went in.
so Lukaku is the Golden Boot right now with 4, but just in general, it's a crazy race with Gabriel.
It's
Jesus
gonna
at
be insane.
3, Mane at 3, Morata at 3, Vardy at 3, Aguero 2, Ali 2. Just a couple of names to
Let
keep in
this
mind.
let this race go on
I love it.
a few more weeks
No, I
before
love
we
it.
start. If you're going to look at it every single week,
I'm looking at it every week
it
because I love
gets
it.
boring.
Because
No,
that's the
it's-
point.
it's
It's
pretty
amazing.
exciting.
That's why I tried to hype
There-
it up so much before the season. Lukaku, Jesus, Aguero, like there's so many just strikers that you want to
Okay, yeah.
watch.
Alexis isn't even there
We-
yet.
Alexis
we'll
isn't there
see
yet,
if
and,
he even gets
and,
there.
and Wenger kind
Okay,
of.
we get it.
That's all my questions.
All right, NFL time.
No.
No? What else?
Last point. I mentioned it. It's in our notes. It's in near the bottom. But FIFA came out with the seedings for the World Cup. A bit of a surprise. The first pot stays the same. The top 7 ranked teams plus Russia are in it.
Right.
Then for the remaining pots, 2, 3, 4, it'll be ranked by FIFA ranking. So that means in a world where the top 32 teams were to make it, let's say, then teams 8 through 15 would be pot 2,
Okay.
and so on and so forth. So we're looking at Mexico and Costa Rica in pot 2, and the U.S. in pot 3. So theoretically, the U.S. is looking at a group of death.
Yeah, most likely. And
What
we
changed?
kind of deserve it.
They used to do it by confederation. They would match up teams by confederation. There'd be like a USA, there'd be a North America and Africa pot.
So USA and Mexico could technically be together.
No, because
They'll-
that's also part of it. You cannot draw teams from the
Right,
same
so like Champions
confederation.
League.
And
Yeah,
they've
sure.
worked it out, so for 100%, it won't. There'll always be 2 European teams get together. Can't be a third, right?
So it's
Yeah.
basically just by rankings now?
Yeah, basically it's by
With those bullshit
That's
FIFA
how it
rankings?
should be.
by the B.
Yeah, but the rankings are terrible.
Yeah, but the rankings are terrible. But
I
it
agree
should
that's
be
how
like
it
that.
should
and
be.
it's done by the October ranking. So all these games now at the beginning of October count. So if you have nothing to play for, yeah, you actually do. And this is exactly the reason why USA needs to win their games so they don't get down the bullshit
After
of the
this
FIFA
week, They should be
rankings.
very low. What are they?
Right now they're ranked 28th
That's very high.
in the world.
That's high.
That's
After the results, they should be nowhere near 28.
that's not true.
That is true.
Well, first of all,
After this whole tournament, they
First
should
of
not
all,
be anywhere near that.
if Mexico beats their next 2 opponents, they only get 7 points.
Well, they do play Costa Rica in one of their games. So
No, they
that's-
did that last week. They tied 1-1.
Oh, right. My bad.
But it doesn't matter. Mexico plays 2 games, and they only get 7 points if they win both. Think about that.
The whole
No,
FIFA
no,
ranking
no, no,
system
no.
is just.
Think about that.
It's all crazy. It makes no sense.
Colombia, if they win both their games, they get 200 points.
It's all.
No, there's nothing
Does
to
it matter
explain.
who you play?
It doesn't matter.
There's
it
a
matters who you
difference
play.
between 7 points and 200 points because that's not fair. Because then how are these North American teams going to catch
From
up?
what
if
I
that's the
remember as
difference?
well, it goes back like they take into an account like a 4-year of all your games. So like when one games are done, it counts to the other game. So like
That's part of it, but also the friendlies are weighted
Yeah.
differently.
it's
Whatever,
But
we'll see
Colombia
what
is
it
playing Peru and Paraguay, and they're going to get 200 points. By the way, which
They
would
won't win both games.
which would put them into the pot 1.
They will not win both games.
The last point about this before we move to NFL, as we're at the halfway point of this podcast, you're looking at Poland, Switzerland, and Russia in pot 1.
that's terrible.
Think about
That's
that.
absolutely terrible.
Which?
Poland, Switzerland, and Russia, since Russia is hosting.
I wouldn't consider
Will
either
be in
one of
pot
those.
one.
I would.
Okay, well, Russia,
obviously,
you
Russia
can't
we
do
take off the
anything about
table,
it.
but Poland and Switzerland, I wouldn't consider them a top 2.
Basically,
like, pots.
Germany, Brazil, Portugal, Argentina, Belgium, and Russia are locks for pot one. Even
France
if
is a 2?
France is at the eighth
Eight.
spot.
And so
Holy
they miss it
God.
because of Russia.
And they have tough games, and their wins don't get them enough points.
They're only 2 behind Switzerland, so they could easily pass them.
Yeah, that is true.
Which 7 gets you the pot one?
But
Who
here,
does Switzerland? Do we know who Switzerland
Switzerland's
plays?
got
Portugal.
Hungary
Portugal, no?
and Portugal.
Wow.
So France passes them. unless
Not
Switzerland beats them.
necessarily because
Oh,
that
wow.
is
Wow.
for the group.
Wow,
Right.
wow, wee,
And
wow.
if Switzerland
And
pulls off that
Switzerland,
win.
if Switzerland could get the tie,
If Poland messes up, they both can pass Poland, which would be amazing to get Poland
there's a
off
lot
the
to
top
play
one
for.
rank.
Actually, as
Belgium's also not a lock if
But-
they mess up.
but rest they are.
They're 1265.
They're not. They have an easy group. They're not
They
going
have
Sure,
they have
they're gonna win.
Cyprus and Bosnia.
I said if they mess up, they should win.
Right. No, you're right.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad I brought that because it gets so. I mean, if they lose both games, which is not the case, they lose
Oh, I'm just. When's
200
the draw
points.
for the World Cup? It's
December 1st. We're a long ways from.
Oh, I remember like the last one where like you can have like the draw machine where you press the buttons like do, 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 and like it's like
Yeah.
USA will get this group of death or that group of death.
I mean, Belgium. Let's say they lose one of them. They could, but they're not going to lose to Bosnia. But they know they have to win these games. That's
Why
the
did
point.
Wales move up 5 spots?
Yeah, it's like there's no logic to.
I
this.
wish I had the Cartman
Denmark moved up 20, which is deserved.
clip
I
ready
guess,
where it's like
if they were
no
that
one
low.
gives two shits about freaking Wales.
Italy went down 5 spots.
They lost to Spain.
Yeah, but it's Spain.
But there's still a lot to play for in next month's qualifiers. But it'll be a shame if Poland and Switzerland are on pot one. It's an
They won't
absolute
be.
joke.
They won't be.
All right,
Moving on, we going into the no fun league or the NFL.
All three of our teams won. Who saw that coming?
The Rams and the Cowboys I saw for sure. Yours was interesting, but
One of the
Texans
upsets of
are
the
not
week.
good.
We didn't know that beforehand though.
Yes, we did.
No, we
knew-
didn't.
knew the Texans were crap. But do you think the
The
Jaguars,
Jaguars
are
are
worse?
ranked like
I
30th.
would think the Texans would win by like 2
Exactly.
or something.
Like that's an upset for sure, but the Texans are shit.
The line was 4.5, 5.5.
5.5.
5.5, 4.5.
And then they
That's 'cause it's
freaking
the Jaguars.
smoked them.
Good.
They shut them out at
Well,
halftime.
They benched
Boom.
Savage after 31 plays. The quarterback's the issue. I mean, we're burying the lead story, and that is the Texans got their first win over
Yeah.
the Cincinnati Bengals, which
Yeah,
cost me my
with
survival
with
pick.
the second quarterback, the rookie.
It's just
Survival is a mother effer.
it's not even that. It's just picking.
No, I'm sorry, but that's a bad pick.
But
No
that,
breaks.
in my opinion, that's a bad pick.
it kind
How
of,
is that a
it's not
bad pick
It's
when
not a
they're
bad pick.
home?
They're a
Good.
home
They were home
team.
last
They're
week.
home.
6.5.
They're home 6.5, and they started at 3.5
They were home last week.
against the Ravens.
Sure, but give them time to prove themselves.
You're
Give
right.
Houston
Okay.
time to prove
You're-
themselves.
You're both
no,
right.
you don't bet on Cincinnati, who's proved
No,
nothing.
we're talking about winning.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the line. You don't put anything on that team when they haven't showed anything.
That's nothing to do with putting on the team. It's talking about them winning the game. They should win the
They
game
should
at
win the
home.
game.
That's not putting them on
No,
the team. Of course
it's-
putting them on the team.
it's
you have
like-
so many
it's-
better options than Cincinnati, who proved nothing
Of
last
course,
week.
you have
Yes,
better
there might be
options,
better
but you're
options.
trying to pick the team strategically.
This isn't that wrong. His pick,
I disagree.
it's a bit unlucky.
I disagree.
No,
Whatever. There's no point
yeah,
of talking
fine.
about it ananymore.
All right.
It's just if he disagrees, they're not going to get through to him. So.
Okay.
Because you just think you're right.
It's not about being right or wrong. It's just you're 100%
Cincinnati is a playoff team, and Houston is not.
Cincinnati's not.
I
a
can
playoff
guarantee
team.
you.
I can guarantee you, Cincinnati does not make the playoffs.
I can
this year.
guarantee you that
At 0-2,
Fine, you
they
say
have
that
an
now.
8% chance. So
Well,
yeah,
You're saying all this stuff now, but before this game, I can guarantee you Cincinnati is one of the top 5 teams that people would pick for survival.
I guarantee you, some people had them at 2-0.
He's not the only person that lost on Cincinnati this week. Probably
10% of the people pick Cincinnati.
Look, I had Cincinnati last year as one of my top picks, if I remember correctly, at the -2.5 against Baltimore. You see what happened last week? You do not take them again this week.
Yeah, you do, because they're playing Houston, and Houston only got 13 points.
Well, now Cincinnati got 9.
All right.
Clearly,
so-
their offense is much more problems than we thought.
That's what I'm saying. You have to give time.
You're saying after the fact.
No,
If you
don't
were to
put that on
say-
survival.
You're missing the strategic part.
I
of
get
it.
what you're saying, but there's better options until you see.
Yes,
that they
there
actually
are better
good.
options, but he tried making this pick and it backfired. Like it happens. I remember last year I also lost in the some around like the first few weeks. It sucks. Do we want to mention our survival pick right now, you and me, Seth, or should we move on
We're already
to
on survival.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you and me, I guess we both agreed for 2 weeks in a row that we're gonna go once again against the New York Jets, and we're selecting Oakland with.
It's not just about it being against the Jets. You have the minus 13.5, if I'm correct.
right now. Yeah, it's at 13.5 as of now.
So on one hand, when it's those lines, That's not what you're supposed to take because that means it's a good team. You know, like you think Seattle, for example, also 13.5. But it's a waste to pick a good team right now. But Oakland's a team that can somehow just mess up one game. I don't think they're like.
I think they used to be
they're
that team.
not
I
that
think
top
I think they've
caliber.
turned the corner.
No, they had an amazing season last year, and they're clearly good. They got a huge win last week.
I think
you just take Oakland here.
100%
It's 100% win.
believe Oakland is a playoff team.
Definitely, they could be. They were 12-4.
They made
last
the playoffs
year.
last year.
Or
I
10-6?
think it was 10-6. But
Deshaun Watson was 15 for 24 for 125 yards passing.
He doesn't know who that is.
Give me a break.
That's
Well, I don't
Houston's
know who it is.
quarterback.
give me a break.
It's Houston's quarterback. Yeah, but that's the point. Cincinnati doesn't have a touchdown in 2 games.
We're talking about Houston. Everything went perfect for
But
Cincinnati
needs
defense.
to score.
But
Dalton
they didn't.
went 20
That's why
35.
like, you don't know before the game
AJ
that they're not gonna do
Green,
that.
it's just
That's
Sure,
why it's
but
not a
that's
bad
why-
pick. It's unlucky.
I don't know.
It's not a bad pick.
this week you see these lines, and you just take Oakland.
All right, so that's our survival pick.
you don't use
Let's-
Oakland. Whatever you
Fine.
can do whatever you want to
That's
do.
There's
out.
so many good teams left. Oakland's not like
Yes,
wow.
there's 31 teams left if you're still guessing correctly.
Right. Okay. So that was me and Seth's survival picks for this week. Let's move on to the other games, just the lines.
Just Seth, give me your top 3 picks.
At the moment, my third is very tough to find, but as like last week, I am super confident in my top 2.
Yeah, last week was a good week, I think, for me and Josh.
Last week for me too, though. For important picks.
For your top
For my
picks,
top
yeah.
3, I got my first right, my second right, and my third lost by 0.5. I was almost 3 for 3.
I forgot to get the clip up of the guy saying, "Pay me my money," but whatever. We can add that in later.
I
maybe.
got my top 2 picks, and my third pick was off by 0.5. Sorry, that's not true. That is not true. I had Cincinnati in my top 3.
Yeah, I had Cincinnati
My
too.
fourth was Green Bay, though.
You got Cincinnati. You thought they were a good team.
And then I said this week you don't take them. That's
Okay,
the point.
I know, fine.
You don't take them with the points, but you would think they'd win.
Yeah, fine,
Let's
whatever.
change the
He brought it
differences
back.
there.
All right.
No, do different.
My top 2 this week,
We both agree on our top
I
two.
just guarantee them, are the Rams and the Cowboys. That under field goal line,
For those that don't know the lines, what are the lines?
2.5 both games. Rams are home to Washington, and Dallas is on the road to Denver. I want to be that confident and say they both win double digits. And you have minus
That's a
2.5.
stretch, and it's unnecessary. But
The
I
point
see
is,
what
though,
you're
I'm
saying.
just
I
extremely
know.
confident.
Um,
It is so easy.
I agree with you. Those
my
are those
opinion.
are my top 2 picks. I'm struggling to find a third. I think if I had to choose a third, I'm my hunch right now is Buffalo.
If I have to pick a third, I do not agree.
I
with
like
that.
Buffalo. If it's over a 7, I like it.
I get the over the 7, but Cam Newton is having a revenge year. In my
All
opinion.
the other games are tricky. No, but actually, no. I'm looking at the list now again. I chose Seattle's gonna be my third pick.
That's not a bad pick. I just don't like big lines.
I don't like big lines either, but Seattle lost
If I
their
have to
opening
pick
game.
a third right now, I might be at the Giants to home
I like
opener.
Detroit.
Home opener. Detroit's not a good team.
I like Detroit now. There's still no Odell Beckham Jr. Detroit won last week.
Why would he not be back?
He's
He's out 6
8
to
weeks.
8 weeks. But
6 to 8 weeks.
It's been like
Yeah.
4. It's been like 4 weeks.
He was a game time decision last week.
Well, clearly their medical staff got it wrong. and also that's mind games too, by the way. If you kind of think that he might play and he's had no chance, you're gonna keep him there until the last possible second.
Yeah, I think
Then
I
I
like.
would not take
I
them.
like Detroit. I'm not sure. I wouldn't pick them necessarily, but out of the 2, I like them as of now.
An interesting pick would be the Indianapolis plus, but I would never take that
Nope.
myself.
I'm taking Arizona for that too.
The Indianapolis Plus is flirting on my top 3 picks for
Yeah,
this week.
it's interesting. That's like a smart, better.
Arizona has injuries. Carson Palmer's getting old. I think
road
Indianapolis
games in
at
a
home,
row.
when you're getting points at home, especially a touchdown or more, you have to consider it. And
As much as the Rams destroyed them, the Rams just played really well. Indianapolis, I don't think played that bad. I mean, you look at the line and you say, how can you possibly even say that?
Wait, what?
Yeah, but no, I mean, they...
hot take.
No, seriously, like, obviously they got destroyed.
They lost by like 30?
Let's just stop you
But
there.
now they're going-
Indianapolis played awful.
They're now going to the home opener, and like you said, Arizona has its own problems, back-to-back road weeks. That's not a bad plus.
It's something to consider.
That's what I said.
Not all
No, yeah.
home teams have such a strong home performance. Like,
Sure, of course not. If that was the case, then betting and predicting would be simple. But they just got destroyed, and it's their home opener.
but that's why
I have
for my,
no official picks.
in my case,
yet.
that's why I think Seattle's a good pick because they're the
Too
best
many
home
points.
team in the league.
It's too many points.
It's too many points.
I think look at Baltimore at home against Cleveland. Cleveland has not won in like 20 years in Baltimore. Look at the Patriots on the road, minus
Could be.
6.5.
The Saints are terrible.
my picks will be in by Sunday. You can check out those picks as well on the Facebook page. I have nothing official to give right now for the podcast. I still need to do some research and homework on these games. Anything else on NFL?
For this week,
What about Tennessee Jacksonville?
I thought you were about to say tennis, and I was going to smack you.
I thought so too.
I'll just be nice and say, like, Michael can care about this game because I
I-
don't care about this game. That's me being bitter because Tennessee was pretty much my number one bet last week, and they didn't deliver at all. They looked
I think
poor.
those who know Jacksonville well enough, I think knows that this is a trap game because you think Jacksonville won their first game and they have a plus at home and let's take them.
I think for the first time in a very, very, very long time, all three of our teams go 2-0,
I don't know.
which is insane.
I kind of hope so. I hope so, but I
I
have a
can
bad
put 10
feeling.
shekels on that.
I have a bad feeling. Like
well, yeah, because you already won 2 of them.
to quote
Then you're just putting Jackson.
to quote Star
the Rams and
Wars.
Cowboys are simple.
I have a bad feeling about this as
Well,
far as
you're
Jacksonville.
a plus. You're not supposed to win, so it's fine.
Nevertheless,
But it's our it's our home opener. Yeah, I don't know. I hope we do it. I still believe in Blake for now. But and our running back got 100 yards last game as a rookie. So let's see what we do at home.
but I think that's it for NFL.
Yeah, I think so too.
One brief story: the Cleveland Indians have won 22 straight games, and that's baseball.
Yeah,
The
pretty
Dodgers
much.
won their game back.
No, because the Dodgers are depressing, and to be honest, being over here and following baseball is just too difficult.
It's too many games.
It's too many games, and they're up middle of the night, and just to keep track of it on day-to-day basis is
well,
just.
when they're at 1.15 also.
Definitely, you got to give them credit though, because 22 games is a lot of games.
No,
And
in any sport, if you win 22 times in a row, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But now the Indians and Dodgers have switched places. The Indians now, this is like one of those seasons like where you need to win the World Series.
it's kind of like what Golden State did. How they had like a unbelievable season and it meant nothing because they lost in the end that other year. But this year they won. Baseball's over.
hockey.
Time to talk hockey. First actual real hockey talk.
We're getting into it. We're gonna see how much we can go when we're still only a little less than 3 weeks away before the start of the season. But I mean, preseason starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
just,
so if preseason
just wrap your head around
preseason
that.
starts tomorrow, so what are the other games that have been going on? It's like
Rookie games.
Okay, fine.
Rookie
okay.
games. The rookie camp starts before training camp, and now training camps have all started.
All right.
Tomorrow, Kings Canucks, 12 a.m. Israeli time. Preseason starts. It's so good that hockey's back. But we'll start with a few stories. Pasternak re-signs in Boston finally.
Seth's boy.
The saga is
the best.
over. 6 years, 6.667 cap hit. I think this is a great deal for both sides. He gets his money. He doesn't take him for an 8-year contract. And Boston keeps their team together, and I think they can start the season on the right track. If you're looking at the Atlantic Division, boys, what place do you see Boston finishing?
I say Atlantic stays exactly the same, except just switch Tampa Bay and Ottawa.
I don't think Montreal won the division.
Here's the thing. I heard a podcast yesterday about the Eastern Conference preview, let's just say. And someone had the Canadians finishing 13th in the Eastern Conference.
That's not
13th in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I-
Montreal is better than Buffalo,
Jersey, Carolina,
Detroit,
Philadelphia.
Florida,
6
Boston, Toronto. They're better than Jersey, Carolina.
Toronto's not one of those teams you can say it's simple. I say yes also.
It's not
100%.
simple, but I think they're better than
No, but
Toronto.
you
You
say
just look
those,
at the
like, worst
goalie.
teams that-
You just start. Again, we can go on the whole debate on who's the best goalie in the league, and Carey Price is definitely overrated in the fact that he's automatically number one, and you can't debate it. I think you can debate it. I mean, just go look at the career stats all time between Price and Quick. And
Of course, you're going straight to Quick.
no. Here's the thing. Quick. I don't want to get going on the King stuff this early in the hockey preview, but everyone says, "Oh, Quick should be out of the top 10." And thank God Quick's out of the top 10 here, top 10 here. Look at Quick and Price's career stats,
All right.
just regular season, and look how close they line up.
I was totally expecting you to go like Lundqvist or Holtby. But
Lundqvist is falling out of the top 10. Let's be honest. He's almost over the hill.
All right, finally.
He was poor last year,
The odds weren't working on the computer. Now I see them.
but do you guys just want to rank the Atlantic Division right now?
Yeah, let's try
Just,
doing
just
that.
at least do one division preview before we. I don't think next week we'll have a podcast because of Rosh Hashanah. So we can get going on some of the early
I have
hockey.
a question.
Previews. Yeah.
If you are in Las Vegas, you have a flight at 11:45, and
AM
at
or PM?
PM, 11:45 p.m.
Okay.
and at 7 p.m. starts the Penguins at Vegas. Do you go to the game? Do you watch 2 periods and leave? What do you do?
You can definitely
Is
make.
this a realistic situation?
This is exactly my situation.
Oh.
December 14th. I leave at 11:45. The game starts at 7.
You
Freaking
don't
Penguins.
You don't want to risk missing your flight.
You can.
2 periods. You definitely can.
You
do.
can definitely be. Well,
I leave at 9. I'm there by I'm there by
I would.
10.
I would have a rent-a-car
I don't think I'll have a car. A taxi, whatever. It's 2
because.
seconds.
But where's all your stuff? You need to leave that arena, get into a car ASAP to get to the airport because the arena to the airport is not that far. That's not a problem.
That's my situation right now.
All right, let's get back to the actual.
No,
hockey
it's just because it's
stuff
talking
instead
about
of Seth's
no.
life.
The point, no. The reason
I
why I
know,
bring
I
that
know.
up is because
You definitely go.
how much is it worth it to see the Penguins? First of all, it's
Seth,
Vegas'
no,
first year and
Seth,
it's the Penguins.
Stop. You definitely go, and you judge the time.
That's why I brought this.
You
up.
judge the time by 9 o'clock.
Right.
You plan everything before the game, and you see how the game goes. Hopefully, it's like 4-1 Penguins by the second
The
intermission.
point is, it doesn't matter how it goes. I have to leave by 9.
I wouldn't
But you
say.
should get
I
two-
wouldn't
you get
say,
2 periods.
Well, where
I
are
don't
you
think it's
flying?
worth it.
Where are you flying?
To Israel?
To Miami.
Oh,
So you only need to be at the airport 2 hours in advance.
Yeah,
and it's
sorry.
night.
Even if I get there at 10, it's fine.
It's more than fine.
So it's 2 periods. Maybe if it goes
you
really
want to
fast.
go to a game to see the whole thing.
Yeah, but
Yes and
well,
no.
I mean, it's probably not going to go because it's also really expensive.
First of all, you don't plan-
See, but you
you
see,
don't-
Vegas is just also talking about hockey. If you see Vegas's prices, it says how many tickets starts from 30, 40, 30, 30, 60, 20, 150 is the Penguins.
The champions.
Times 5.
That makes sense.
Times 5.
Okay, but
So I'm not going to pay that much money to see 2 periods.
we can plan your trip on later podcast. Atlantic Division preview.
I actually,
We work our way from bottom to top. 8th place.
I'm gonna say Red Wings in 8th, Sabres in 7th. They seem pretty.
Yeah, that's accurate.
That's agreed. Buffalo's going to be improved, but I think they'll be 7th place.
Hockey Town's got to get their stuff together again.
They do because they have a new arena, but they are in the midst of a rebuild, and it's the first rebuild that they're doing in Detroit after 20 plus years.
Actually,
the
I'm
thing
gonna
is-
change my mind and say
Okay.
Detroit goes ahead of Buffalo.
That does not matter.
That
I know it doesn't matter. I know in the big picture it doesn't
Buffalo,
matter. But
Buffalo's
I think
a better team, and they have Eichel, and they're going to finish higher. If you want to do a bet, if you want to do a prop bet, who finishes higher, Buffalo versus Detroit? Buffalo is better than Detroit.
But what's interesting is normally there's like a sleeper, a favorite. I guess some people Columbus was crazy.
Are you talking
last year.
division or the conference?
Conference.
we're talking about division though.
No, he said conference.
We're
We're
talking
talking Atlantic
division.
I thought then you said conference.
Nah,
Earlier,
Whatever.
earlier.
I'm talking about the conference right now.
Seth, there's like 3 or 4 sleepers.
I'm just talking about the playoff. No, what? What do you mean? From
There's-
last year?
No, right now going into this year for winning the Stanley Cup, there's like 3 or 4
I'm
sleepers.
not talking about winning the Stanley Cup. I'm talking about making the playoffs in the
Okay.
Eastern Conference.
Same thing.
I'd say it's the same. The only thing that should change is Tampa Bay, and Stamkos was injured. I would just change Tampa Bay for Ottawa. That's all I change for playoffs.
Ottawa might not make it. Boston might not make it.
I think Boston makes it.
Washington might not make it.
No way.
Rangers might not make it.
What are you talking about?
But we can get to the whole playoff picture later. We're focusing on the
Whatever.
Atlantic
That's
Division.
my playoffs.
Sixth
in the
place.
Eastern Conference.
Sixth place. We think Florida.
Yes.
No surprises there.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
5th place. This is where we're gonna get
Ottawa.
interesting. I agree with Ottawa though. Ottawa will not make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, let's go with Ottawa.
4th place.
4th place, I'm gonna go with Montreal.
Wow. That's all I can say. This is where I have Boston.
Boston.
I don't think they'll do it. as
Boston
well they did
fourth.
last year.
Montreal is a much better team than Boston, pretty much. Tuukka Rask is starting to lose it, I feel. They got McAvoy on defense for Boston, who was huge in the playoffs. They got that first round matchup against Ottawa, which they should have won, to be honest, but Ottawa beat them.
I like the.
I think McAvoy for 82 games helps them. I think Marchand and Pasternak are going to be amazing. Chara still got it.
That's exactly why I think Pasternak and Marchand will be able to get them ahead of the Canadians to get that 3rd place spot for the division.
Well, we'll get to the Canadians when Seth and I agree on them. 3rd place.
3rd place, I'm going Boston.
Toronto.
Seth and I are like syncing up on this because it's going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs. They didn't win their playoff series. Let's just remember that. I mean, maybe I'm just bitter Toronto because everyone just talks them up because ooh, they showed up and made the playoffs and gave Washington all they could handle. That's great. They didn't win a playoff series. And Lou Lamoriello, I'm pretty much copying what he said. He said, we had a decent year, but we didn't win our playoff series. So we know there's a long way for us to go.
I think Austin Matthews has a lot to prove this next year.
Well, it's the sophomore year.
Yeah,
and
we'll
he
see.
needs to show the same numbers as his first year.
They have the players to do something good.
They're a young, fast, exciting
They have
team.
the right coach.
Of course, they have the right coach. Their defense is suspect because they're still thinking they're missing one or two key solid defensemen. And Freddie Anderson is a good goalie you can depend on, but is he going to win you playoff series? I don't know about that yet. So I think third is and the thing is, now everyone knows about the Maple Leafs. They know how to play against the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
What's that going to do? An effect on their point totals this year. So I think their place is the right place. I think Boston could catch them. Boston, if they get their game straight early, could catch Toronto.
Okay.
We go to the second spot.
I still have.
This is Toronto for
you
Michael?
guys. Yeah, this is Toronto for me, and you guys have Maple Leafs and
In the
Canadiens
second
left.
spot, let's see if
Lightning.
Seth and I are on the same page. Second place is Seth.
Canadiens or Lightning.
Tampa Bay.
Montreal Canadiens.
All right, so Seth has the
Seth
Canadiens
has
win the
Montreal
division.
one.
They're both. It's between the two of them for the division.
I
It's
have
gonna be
Tampa
very
Bay
close.
one. And Michael has...
I have Tampa Bay.
Oh, you have Tampa Bay.
I'm Tampa
What?
Bay, Toronto,
Tampa Bay,
Boston,
Toronto,
Montreal.
Boston, Montreal. I mean, Tampa Bay is loaded from the forwards all the way back. The only question mark is, will Vasilevsky have a solid regular season? Now he's getting more starts.
I think they will. I think Stamkos didn't play last year, obviously, a lot because of his injury. I think
He's got a lot of proof.
Kucherov is one of the most exciting players to watch. I watched one of those highlights of a shootout goal he did last year where he just completely embarrassed the goalie. He is a...
It's so filthy.
Yeah. Do you know what we're talking about or no? He goes in
so...
and
It's like that play alone is better than anything I've seen in the NBA all
he
last year.
fakes a shot. He doesn't even shoot the puck.
He doesn't. That's the move.
It's
all in his move and
so
deceiving of the
filthy.
goalie. And it's just like,
You feel bad for the goalie. Like you just like
How does
embarrassed
that
a
not
grown
win
man.
Play of the Year for the
You just
ESPYs?
embarrassed a grown man.
Oh, that's
in
right.
front of
ESPN
everyone.
hates hockey. We're going to Colorado where there's problems with Matt Duchene. Was he going to show up to training camp? Well, he did yesterday, and it was the saddest appearance in the history of training camp days because
Yeah.
he reported to the locker room. The reporters gathered around. He said, I'm not taking any questions. I'm here out of respect for my teammates. I trained this summer and I'm in good physical condition, and I'll see you guys around, and left. And if that's not a please trade me, then I don't know what
that's
is.
exactly what I was gonna say. Like,
And Joe Sakic, you are now under fire because you have royally screwed this situation up.
yeah,
You have now made a player unhappy where now you have to trade him. And now teams are going to pounce on this because you're going to lose value because you just need to trade him. There's no point of having him sit out and not play for your team or play poorly for your team when you just need to get assets for him. And it seems like Matt Duchene's days are numbered in Colorado. And just like Seth was referring to, trades before the season, this is probably the only one you'll see. But it has a major effect on whoever gets him. We're talking Montreal. We're talking the Islanders. We're talking Nashville. We're talking potentially Pittsburgh. Maybe the Kings. The Kings have $6 million in
I
cap
think
space.
Nashville might be a team that should probably take that move since they have their injuries now, and it would be smart for them to pick him up if they can.
Yeah. Seth, thoughts being the Colorado fan?
I mean, I like Duchesne. He has not been consistent, and clearly Colorado needs a change. We still have a very young team. Landeskog, McKinnon, Tyson Berry.
Are we still gonna do our McKinnon, Perry, and Kopitar thing again this
We
year?
might.
I won last year,
I
right?
think- I think-
McKinnon won.
You won because all of ours sucked.
I think we could do that this year because I expect bounce back years for all of them. We'll talk that more the opening
I had a
weekend,
plus 10, right?
Who
Or plus
knows?
5.
We all did terrible.
something like that.
Well,
but,
Perry was a favorite. I mean, I like Duchesne, but they have to change something. But if they get robbed out of a deal, then that's fucking terrible. If they get a
F-bomb
good
number
deal,
one.
if they get a good deal, they need to change clearly because they have good players, they have young players, but the team sucks. So something is wrong. So you need to change that.
Last 2 points because we're about to reach our max limit for this podcast. And again, thank you for listening. Point number 1, the Kings and the Golden Knights had a rookie scrimmage. They both took a game apiece, and the banter on Twitter has begun. The Kings are one of the best run Twitter pages, not in hockey, but in the sports world. And the Golden Knights have kind of copied this in a way. Not in the copy this like they've totally stolen from the Kings, but they've taken the same style and wittiness. And there was some banter back and forth. And,
So give us an example, because I'm not sure exactly what you mean.
The example would be like, we're not trying to be too excited, but we just scored our first goal ever in franchise history. That's like what the Vegas Golden Knights would say. There was more tweets during the game, and then the Kings wrote, final score, Kings score 5 unanswered with 5 like all caps.
Right.
More tweets. And then Vegas Golden Knights we wrote, we wish you'd be this happy with a rookie win than how you're handling your salary cap situation. Which was a big burn. Then the Kings Twitter handle changed their bio to we are the professional capologist of the LA Kings. Because in all honesty, they're the Twitter handle, not the GM of the Kings.
Right.
So I think that was pretty genius response back. So it's good to see that happening at the beginning of the year. This will be fun getting those two teams together. Last point, the NHL is not going to have their players go to the Olympics. And the key man who was going to rebel against this was Ovechkin, and he has resigned himself to the fact that they're not going to go. He's extremely disappointed. He released a statement saying that he wanted to go, but he needs to focus on winning a cup, and still hopeful for 22.
In 18, no one's going?
In 18, there'll be no NHLers, meaning players from other leagues can go represent their countries, but no one playing in the NHL can go.
Right.
So pretty much,
Kovalchuk.
so Russia is your favorite.
Will that Israeli dude play? No, not gonna make the World Cup. Never mind. Not gonna make the Olympics. It's a different story.
With that, I think we've reached our limit for today. When we're getting to the point where Michael thinks Israel's making the Olympics in hockey.
Wait, but what's with wasn't he supposed to get drafted or something?
He's getting drafted next year.
And he plays in the AHL?
Plays in Sudbury.
Not the AHL, the
OHL.
Okay.
He's playing in Sudbury for the
And
Wolves.
what's he supposed to go around?
Projected.
He was projected a first-round pick. Now he's outside of the top 40. We'll see. The season just started. It's hard to predict these junior players because they're
How
all
old
on
is he?
streaks. He's 16, turning 17.
Why would he go already next year then?
Because then he's turning 18 or maybe he's 17. I don't know.
Why would he not do college?
I've unfortunately, you get drafted before you do college. I have unfortunately taken a break from my David Levin watch because, like I said, he's dropped out of the top 40. But now that hockey season's starting, I'll continue to monitor his progress. But we thank you again for listening
Quack.
to the Greenberg. Oh, fuck you. We thank you again for listening to the Greenberg Hat Trick. We might have a short episode next week. It's Rosh Hashanah, Thursday, Friday, so the studios are definitely closed. Maybe we get in Wednesday to record a brief podcast. And we really, at this point, would like some feedback. We're asking for it. Now we're begging for it because we want to know what's good, what's not working. Thank you for listening. Hockey is back in a preseason way tomorrow, and have a good weekend.